I feel like my house is very divided, right? Because my dad comes from a culture, or like his upbringing was super different than my mom's, right? So my dad is one of maybe 15 plus kids. Like he's one of a lot, right? And so there was not a lot of closeness between, everyone there. And my mom is one of three, right? So she came from a small, small, small family. So my mom is super kind, super nice. Like she'll do everything. Like people used to, I just realized this is not normal. When I was growing up, people would open our front door, say hi to my mom, and then open our fridge. Multiple people would walk in, just open.
That's literally how I grew up,
bro. That's not normal
with my family.
Yeah, and
I had a neighboring family. It's called the Dorian. Shout out to them. So literally, we would just walk to their house. We'd knock on the door. Sometimes we don't say hi. We just go straight to the fridge. Bro. But I mean, I feel like that closeness and that connection is something that's so beautiful and, like you said, so rare.
Yes, and exactly. Like I didn't realize that was rare. I didn't realize that was something that was uncommon until I grew up, and I would let people, like I literally was just letting everyone do this. And there was a point in my time where like people I didn't want in my home were coming in and taking from me. People who I was like, I'm not sure if I would give more than I needed to people who definitely did not deserve it. Right. And then on the other hand, that's my mom. On the other hand, my dad, this man, if you giving free t-shirts, he's taking 3. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like my dad is like, I love him to death. He's the absolute hustler. Absolutely. Like my plate has to be the most full. You know what I mean? It's not even like most full. You must see that my plate is most full. And then when I finished, I need you to understand how much I have eaten in comparison to what you I even tried to still finish. So that's my dad. And so I would see that, and while, obviously it makes you happy in some form, it also is a little sad because it's like you don't share as much, so you don't have those stuff that come, or the relationships that come with sharing.
Right.
Like he didn't have all those, relationships in the community that my mom had. But this man sure as hell was always good, And so seeing that, and then, like I said, and for me, how that reflected is whenever I would take on those properties, my personal gains would always be through the roof. Like I was always doing well, but it was always a solo success.
So the way that your sibling structure is made up right now is similar to the way that your mom was raised. So I'm curious if, like, how do you meet in the middle as siblings? It sounds like being hustling and being competitive and kind of having to elbow people out and fight for what you have. And then it makes sense. Like you're one of 14, you have to do something to stand out.
Yeah.
Versus if you're one of 3, then you're comfortable with being yourself and you're comfortable in seeing other people win. So I'm curious to see how that dynamic clashes.
So, and it's great that you said it like that, because when you're one of 14, it's not even like you have to do something to stand out. All that matters is that you stand out. If there's only enough food for 6, the person who, like it's going to be the first 6 that eat who say something. So the idea that closed mouths don't get fed, come on. Literally, if you're one of you, they're literally standing out as the pinnacle. My dad's like, if you come for anything that has to do with pride with him, you will actually meet a problem. You know what I mean? Like if he were to get disrespected in the street, it would be the last time said person disrespected anybody,
right?
Type of deal. Whereas with my mom, again, being so comfortable, being, one of 3, knowing that you're going to get food, it may not be the most that day because, this slice is bigger going to this other person, but you're still fed. It allows for much more comfort with being kind of stepped on, overlooked, so on and so forth. You're very kind, you're very giving, but sometimes you give too much.
Yeah.
Right? And then on my dad's side, you're very good at taking, but sometimes all you're doing is taking because you're not used to giving or being overgiven, if you will, right? Not to say that they're like that today. Both of them, like that's how they grew up, so they've changed so much from that. But knowing that and then kind of having that background, for me, it all kind of culminated into how can I be kind but never kind enough to just be stepped on? And how can I be out for me, but never so much out for me that I forget about others?